It seems like the Middle East is always on the edge of a full-blown disaster, and every time Israel steps up its military aggression, it justifies it with the same excuse: an existential threat. But is this claim anything more than a paper-thin justification for belligerence? Over the past few months, especially with the brutal assault on Lebanon, it's clear that Israel itself is the force driving the region towards chaos, not the other way around. The question we should be asking is, who's really under threat here? For years, Israel has clung to the narrative of an existential threat as the reason for its military actions. The idea is simple. Israel, a small nation surrounded by hostile neighbors, must act decisively or risk being wiped off the map. It's a compelling story, one that garners international sympathy and justifies almost anything Israel does. But does it hold up to scrutiny? This narrative isn't new. Since its founding in 1948, Israel has claimed that it is under constant threat from its Arab neighbors. The wars of 1948, 1967, and 1973 helped cement the idea that Israel must defend itself at all costs. But fast forward to 2024, and the situation is starkly different. Most of the countries in the region have either signed peace agreements with Israel or are uninterested in direct conflict. In truth, many of Israel's neighbors, including Lebanon and Jordan, are too embroiled in their own issues to pose a genuine threat. Even Hezbollah and Iran, while formidable foes, have refrained from outright war with Israel in recent years. The notion that Israel is constantly on the brink of annihilation doesn't reflect the current geopolitical reality. When you look at the broader picture, it becomes clear that most of Israel's neighbors have no desire for an all-out war. Lebanon, still recovering from its economic crisis, can't afford another conflict. Jordan and Egypt have long-standing peace agreements with Israel, while Saudi Arabia is inching towards normalization. So, is this existential threat real, or is it a convenient excuse? Despite the shaky peace, Israel's recent actions tell a different story. On one Monday alone, Israeli airstrikes in Lebanon killed 558 people, a staggering number that reminds many of the 2006 war between Israel and Hezbollah. But this time, the stakes are even higher. Let's put this in perspective. In a single day, Israel killed half the number of people who died in an entire month of fighting in 2006. And who were the victims? Not just combatants, but civilians, including 50 children, first aid responders, and even humanitarian workers. This isn't just collateral damage. It's a massacre. Civilian lives are always at risk when military actions escalate, but the scale of casualties in Lebanon is horrifying. Thousands are fleeing, children are traumatized, and entire communities are being wiped out. What kind of defense strategy justifies such widespread death and destruction? One of the most shocking moments came with the assassination of Hezbollah's leader, Hassan Nasrallah, during an Israeli strike that leveled 6 apartment blocks in Beirut. Israel may have scored a tactical victory, but at what cost? The blowback from this action could escalate tensions beyond control, dragging the region into a broader conflict. Lebanon is on the brink of disaster. Prime Minister Najib Mikati has warned that up to 1 million people could soon be displaced if the violence continues. And while Hezbollah has shown restraint so far, the situation is a tinderbox. One wrong move, and the whole region could ignite. Hezbollah has always been a key player in Lebanon's defense, but the group's involvement in the current conflict has been more measured. They've launched retaliatory strikes, but stopped short of a full-scale war. Still, Israel's aggression may leave them no choice but to escalate, and that could have devastating consequences. Then there's Iran. While Israel has long viewed Iran as its arch-nemesis, Tehran has been careful to avoid direct confrontation. But with Hezbollah being Iran's proxy in the region, continued Israeli strikes could push Iran to intervene, which would set off a catastrophic chain reaction. The last thing the Middle East needs is a direct war between Israel and Iran. What about the United States? Historically, Washington has backed Israel almost unconditionally, but even that support has its limits. Recently, the U.S. has urged Israel to exercise restraint, especially in Lebanon. But Israel has pressed ahead with its offensive, defying its most important ally. While the U.S. seeks stability in the region, Israel's aggressive actions threaten to destabilize it further. This puts Washington in a difficult position. How far can it support Israel without damaging its own standing in the Middle East? Recent statements from U.S. officials reflect a growing reluctance to fully endorse Israel's actions in Lebanon. The Biden administration has repeatedly called for de-escalation, but these calls have fallen on deaf ears in Tel Aviv. Israel's unilateral actions are raising eyebrows not just in the U.S., but across the world. Israel's aggressive push into Lebanon isn't just about Hezbollah or Nasrallah. It's part of a broader strategy that seeks to demonstrate military superiority. But as much as Israel wants a decisive victory, it's trapped in a quagmire, particularly in Gaza. And the harder it pushes, the more it risks unraveling the fragile peace in the region. Israel's military doctrine is clear. It wants to defeat Hezbollah once and for all, just as it seeks to crush Hamas in Gaza. But these goals have remained elusive. Despite its superior firepower, Israel has been unable to secure a definitive victory, and every escalation only deepens the stalemate. With each Israeli airstrike, the chances of a wider war grow. Countries like Syria and Iran are watching closely, while internal unrest in Lebanon threatens to boil over. If Israel continues on its current path, it risks dragging the entire region into a war that nobody can win. Thousands of innocent people are caught in the middle of this conflict with no way out. Their lives are being torn apart by forces far beyond their control. And for what? To satisfy Israel's desire for security? The truth is, no amount of military might can guarantee that. The images coming out of Lebanon are heartbreaking. Families fleeing, children wounded, and entire neighborhoods reduced to rubble. These people aren't fighters. They're just trying to survive. But in this relentless cycle of violence, their lives are expendable, used as pawns in a deadly game of geopolitics. So, let's be clear. The real threat to the Middle East isn't some vague existential threat to Israel. It's the out-of-control military aggression that Israel is unleashing on its neighbors. This reckless behavior is pushing the region to the brink of catastrophe, and unless something changes soon, the consequences will be devastating. Why does Israel claim there's an existential threat? Israel often uses the idea of an existential threat to justify its military actions, arguing that it must defend itself from potential annihilation. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Please answer these questions in the comment box below. Do you think Hezbollah will declare full-scale war on Israel? What do you think are the long-term consequences of this conflict for both Israel and Hezbollah? Share your opinion